Hey everyone, it's Crazy Steve here with another video on the custom LEGO Minecraft world I started in January of this year. If you saw the last video, you know that this world is incorporating sets from the official theme, and in the last video, we made a panel around the bee cottage. At the end of that video, I said that I would try to update the world monthly, and while I didn't follow through with that, one thing I will follow through on is me saying that I would eventually revisit the first two panels. The goal behind this update was to incorporate the Taiga Adventure into the Taiga biome we previously created, as well as to enhance the terrain within the panels. While it may seem like a rather small update, the effect the extra terrain had on the panels is profound, as seen in these finished photos. If you want to see all the steps I took and challenges I faced in the building of this panel, sit back, unwind, and keep on watching. The first step I take in any of my builds actually doesn't involve any LEGO at all. Instead, it happens entirely on my computer. I use Studio, an all-in-one desktop app for Windows and Mac that lets you build with virtual LEGO parts, render your designs, and create instructions. What I find most useful about this program is its ability to compare prices of all the pieces you add, helping you find the most affordable options for your build. Once you finish designing, ordering the parts is straightforward. You simply select and export the parts you want to purchase to a wanted list on Bricklink and proceed with the normal ordering process there. I highly recommend this program to anyone looking to dive into custom LEGO creations, especially if you're working with a limited budget for your physical bricks. Next up is the process of unpacking my Bricklink order for the world, and it's a big one. Instead of listing out each piece, because that could get a little tedious, I'll just share the important details. This time, I scored a total of 127 pieces for $22.30, including shipping. Considering the inclusion of some larger plate pieces and a lot of individual bricks, I think that's a pretty fair deal. After confirming that everything I ordered was there, it's time to start tearing into the old panels and kick off our update. The first thing I wanted to do was lift the plates off from the Taiga biome portion of our build and replace the colored bricks beneath with reddish brown ones for that uniform look I was talking about. This proved to be a lot easier than I originally anticipated and came out looking great, blending seamlessly with the surrounding landscape. Next was the actual act of adding the Taiga Adventure set onto the panel. This small set fits perfectly in the flat area and really enhances the space, bringing a new layer of depth and detail to the scene. I just love how it adds a bit of narrative to the environment, almost like a mini story waiting to unfold. Apart from removing a few pieces for the transition, this set will remain pretty much fully intact, including the play feature. Now, you might be thinking that it's a little weird to include the play features in my custom world, but what is an awesome LEGO world if I can't play with it? I envision myself not just displaying this creation, but also interacting with it, reenacting adventures, and even adding more elements as I go along. The playful storytelling of LEGO is part of its charm, and I want my world to be alive with possibilities. Diving into the second panel, the first step was to entirely remove all structures built upon it. Here, I made a conscious effort to keep everything as intact as possible, knowing that it would save me a lot of time and effort when I went to rebuild later. I pried off each piece, trying to be as careful as possible, since the last thing I wanted was to damage any of the pieces, since I really don't have any extras lying around. Some of the plates were trickier to remove than others because I could still remember how hard I had to press them down when adding them. Through a little bit of patience, I used a brick separator to ease them up without causing too many fractures. With the panel fully cleared, I could now assess the space and brainstorm ideas for the next phase of the build. The possibilities felt endless, and I could hardly contain my excitement as I began laying out the new terrain features. This to me was more than an update, it was a chance to breathe new life into my creation, turning it into something even more immersive and engaging. To help guide my vision, I pulled up the screenshots I had taken in studio. These became invaluable references, allowing me to visualize how each element fit into the overall design. I love how useful this program is, as without it, I knew I would have faced a huge challenge trying to remember where each piece originally went. It helped me keep track of my ideas and ensured that the layout would come out the way I intended it to. However, as I began to place the new terrain features, I quickly realized that I must have used some of the intended bricks in different spots than I had originally planned. It was a little bit of a puzzle, but I embraced the challenge. Much easier than placing the terrain bricks was the process of covering everything with the green plates meant to represent grass and snow. Each piece added on had such a satisfying feeling behind it, getting me one step closer to adding the structures back on and completing the panel. The rhythmic snap of each plate locking into place was oddly therapeutic, and I could feel the excitement bubbling up as the landscape began to take shape. However, even though this step was relatively easy, there were still a few areas that presented challenges I had to work around. As I worked, I couldn't help but chuckle at the little obstacles I had created for myself. One of the main issues arose from my earlier decisions. I had placed the outside reddish-brown bricks on top of grass-colored 4x4 plates that were meant to be reddish-brown to maintain that cohesive look. This oversight forced me to do some quick problem solving. While it was straightforward enough to lift the plates and swap them out, I was reminded of the consequences of my earlier construction. Many of those plates had been pressed down with significant force, and as I attempted to pry them up, I noticed a few cracks beginning to form. It was honestly a bit frustrating, but I knew it was all part of the learning process. Carefully, I worked through the problem, gingerly lifting the cracked bricks and hiding the cracks where they couldn't be seen. It was a moment that tested my patience, but I was determined to see it through without sacrificing the integrity of the build. As I laid down the correct reddish-brown plates, I felt a renewed sense of accomplishment. The scene I had envisioned was coming together, and it was worth the minor setbacks. This whole process was a reminder that building, while sometimes challenging, was ultimately about the joy of creation and the satisfaction of overcoming obstacles. Quite possibly the simplest part was adding the structures back onto the bee cottage plate. Since the structures were pretty much already intact from careful removal, it felt like a breeze to reintroduce the tree, the cottage itself, and the fenced area back into the mix. Well, it should have been a breeze, but I ended up dropping the tree after trying to move it from the spot I had originally placed it in. Without too much fuss though, I was able to put it back together like Humpty Dumpty and continue on with the process. Adding the structures, while super simple, turned out to be my favorite part of the process. As I carefully positioned each one, I could see everything finally coming together, and the satisfaction of seeing my vision materialize was exhilarating. This moment was especially rewarding because all the hard work I had put in was finally paying off. Every difficult decision, every moment spent troubleshooting, and every challenge I faced had led to this step. As I got the chance to admire the newly revamped area, a wave of pride washed over me. I could visualize the bustling activity that would take place here. Bees buzzing around, flowers blooming, and characters going about their adventures. It's thrilling to see how the new terrain complements the existing structures, enhancing the overall aesthetic of the panel. This was no longer just a collection of bricks, it had transformed into a vibrant, living world brimming with stories waiting to unfold. I can hardly wait to see how it will evolve even further as I continue to build and add new elements. This journey is far from over, but this moment marked a significant milestone. From this point forward, I plan to incorporate this level of detail, if not more, as I continue to grow and refine my skills as a builder. If you've made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the video and the journey through through the building process. I will not make any promises on when the next video will be uploaded, but I can assure you there will be more. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, just consider leaving it a like. If you've seen any of my other videos, tell me how you liked this one compared to those. Is the editing getting better? How does my voice sound? All feedback is listened to and appreciated. If you want, sub to the channel for more LEGO reviews, builds, all things brick related, and until next time, people, stay crazy.